Wouldn't it be great if you could ask your data anything at any time? Like, how are sales this quarter? How's the new marketing campaign performing? What does the overall health of the company look like? And actually get answers right away with charts and graphics and actionable information. You can with Domo's AI and data products platform. Domo lets you channel AI and data quickly, securely, and innovatively to deliver measurable insights wherever and whenever you need them. Anyone on your team can use Domo to easily prepare, analyze, visualize, automate, and distribute data, all amplified by AI. Domo goes beyond productivity. It's designed to transform your processes, helping you make smarter and faster decisions and drive real growth. All powered by Domo's trust, flexibility, and years of expertise in data and AI innovation. The world's best companies rely on Domo to make smarter decisions. See how Domo can help transform yours. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.
The Agile Brand.
Welcome to Season 6 of the Agile Brand, where we discuss marketing technology and customer experience trends, insights, and ideas with enterprise and technology platform leaders. We focus on the people, processes, data, and platforms that make brands successful, scalable, customer-focused, and sustainable. This is what makes an Agile brand. I'm your host, Greg Kihlstrom, advising Fortune 1000 brands on MarTech, marketing operations, and CX, best-selling author and speaker. The Agile Brand Podcast is brought to you by TEKsystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world application. For more information, go to teksystems.com. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that my latest book, Priority is Action: 7 Principles for Better Strategies, Decisions, and Outcomes, is now available. In it, I give ideas and insights for leaders and teams that need to make meaningful progress on their priorities. After all, our priorities are what we do, not what we say we'd like to do. You can find Priority is Action on Amazon or learn more on my website, gregkihlstrom.com. Now let's get on to the show. As businesses increasingly integrate AI into their marketing and customer experience strategies, understanding the real-world applications and implications becomes essential. Joining us today to share insights on these topics is Kathryn Murphy, SVP of Product Communications at Twilio, who recently released their State of Customer Engagement report with a lot of information reinforcing the need for businesses to have a strong foundation of data to drive ROI from their AI investments. Kathryn, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Greg. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, looking forward to talking about all this with you. Why don't we get started, though, with you giving a little background on yourself and telling us a little bit about your role at Twilio.
Yeah. So I work in the product teams. In fact, I've spent the last almost 3 years at Twilio working on our data and apps side of the house, our customer data platform. And just recently, I've moved over to the communications side of our business, where we have channels, all the different channels, email, messaging, and Flex. And so it's been pretty fun and it's exciting in my new role to kind of figure out how to better pull all these things together, especially in this era of data, communications, and AI.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, definitely. And we're gonna touch on pretty much all of that. So this is a great segue to let's get started by touching on the ROI from AI in marketing and CX. And so, as AI technology is maturing, certainly there's been a lot of talk about it, but I think, adoption is still, a lot of orgs are still maturing in their adoption of it. As this happens, identifying areas where it can deliver tangible returns is crucial for businesses as they kind of get past that initial, stage of experimentation and trying things out. So according to the Twilio report that I mentioned at the top of the show, brands using AI to personalize are seeing higher customer satisfaction scores, about 45%, better data-driven decision-making, about 41% of respondents, and improved market segmentation and targeting, a little over 40%. Can you share where brands are currently seeing the most significant return on investment from AI initiatives, and how should they look at that in their marketing and CX?
Yeah. So first of all, I'll come to the brands in just a second, but one of the things I think we're really trying to focus on as a product team is build AI capabilities that do produce results.
Yeah.
Like it's in this era, it's like really alluring to try to build something super shiny or out AI people. And we really try to anchor ourselves in results. And so in that vein, we see customers using Twilio predictions like crazy and getting amazing results. One of our customers, Trade Me, it's a classified company out of New Zealand. They're big adopters, and they had incredible results in terms of their campaign performance. We have other brands like Box using predictions to just save time and optimize campaign performance and unlock revenue opportunities as well. They are, for an example of how they're using predictions, they use it to predict the likelihood of a customer signing up to attend one of their events.
Yeah.
And it sounds so obvious. Like, I think marketers have been trying to do this for, like, this is not a new goal, but just having AI, more fine tuning on the audiences and the people we target and when we target them just really equals dollars at the end of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that you touched on there are plenty of shiny things that can be done with AI. And, I've certainly, I think we've probably all played with at least some of them, but, I just started writing another LinkedIn newsletter, just highlighting the stuff, AI is not a goal or a strategy. It's a means to an end, and that end needs to somehow translate into ROI. So, love that you're talking about this and focused on that. To that end, what are some of the key factors that contribute to achieving positive ROI when companies are investing in AI? And how does a company like Twilio support companies in those efforts?
Yeah, I think one is they have to have, we'll spend a little more time on this, but they have to have good data. They have to have data that is powering AI. And I feel like everyone says this, like there's a LinkedIn post every day about this.
Right.
We'll dig into it a little bit more, but if people think, oh, what I need to do is find some AI tools, that is never going to be enough. They have to also say, what is the state of my data so that I can leverage AI tools? I think, yesterday, I just happened to spend the whole day with customers. And so many of the customers are like, yeah, we're trying AI things on our own, but we're also really relying on our vendors to have AI capabilities because of the data challenge. We can't go do all the consent, the transparency. We make sure that we only have first party data that we're using and no third party data. There's actually a lot to having your data in order to apply AI on top of it. And so vendors, I think, also have this, we can bring a lot to our customers, and we have the obligation to help them with that data work as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, to your point, and to dive in a little deeper on just the critical nature of data, there's also the nature of transparency and how AI is using customer data, right? So, and certainly a critical component of it. So let's talk a little bit about that. And, going back to the report from Twilio that I mentioned, there appears to be a significant gap between brand perceptions and customer views on AI transparency. So 91% of brands say they are transparent with customers about how AI uses their data, and a little less than half, about 48% of customers agree with those 91% of brands. So could you elaborate a little bit on this issue?
Yeah. Isn't that, it's actually terrifying to see
right.
that. But it's also sometimes when I saw that gap in our own report too, I thought, well, yeah, but how many of us actually read the terms and conditions of anything? Right. Or how many of us really understand when we click the button on the website that we agree to cookies? What does that mean? I think there's a big gap between brands saying, oh yeah, no, we have policies. We have things that we show customers, and customers understanding. And I think AI has raised the stakes there. Yeah. One of the things that we did back several months ago is we put together an AI nutrition facts. And truth be told, when we first started coming up with this nutrition facts, which is like what it sounds, it looks like a nutrition label, and it has some of the key elements around AI, data usage, transparency of the model being used, what kinds of things that we are checking for, what level of data is being used in this AI capability. When we put these together, first I was worried they were too gimmicky. Like people would be like, like this is just, we need to take this seriously. But our customers have loved these nutrition facts, and we've had a lot of reach out from other vendors and even regulators about this, because it is, I'm not here to say that it is like the solve, but I think it's more representative of the type of transparency that needs to happen around AI. It's simple, it's clear, it's using a framework we already understand. It's not 7,000 lines buried in some terms and conditions or in something that I clicked on the website. It's like, so I think that's, when we see this gap, I think that's at least one of the ways that we as vendors have to do better. We actually have to care about customers understanding it and making it simple for them.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, I've drawn a lot of correlations between, the consumer data privacy stuff in general, how GDPR came around, and, but there are some differences here, I think, with AI. So, the similarities in that, Europe is kind of leading the charge in AI regulation as well.
Yeah.
Right. But I think the difference also is, with consumer data privacy, consumers were getting hounded, or still are, but like they're getting hounded on the phone and text and email and stuff by brands that they just don't want to interact with. I think the AI stuff is it's a little harder for consumers to maybe understand unless they know. Like you and I know this stuff because we deal with it every day, and we can kind of see at least most of, or some of what's going on at the very least from the brands that we use. But I think maybe the average consumer, it kind of gets lumped in with consumer data privacy, and AI certainly has some unique aspects. So, I mean, all that to say, like, I love the idea of the nutrition facts, because there's not only is there transparency in that, but there's also education, which you touched on as well, because I do think we need to educate consumers about this.
Yeah. And I think it's, I think the other thing I feel like I've been on this journey for a while and still am on it, which is as a vendor, trust is a feature. It's not like oh, I got to check boxes so I can move on to the good stuff. Like it is, it's increasingly, in our report would definitely indicate this, it's increasingly becoming a decision factor in whether or not a customer will do business with you. And AI transparency is just part of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it also, just like consumer data privacy, it's only a matter of time before consumers really are savvy enough. And, the average consumer, let's say, is savvy enough to know and be looking for those nutrition facts in whatever form they might be provided in. So no, I think that's really interesting. And, along those lines, I think something also top of mind for consumers is security, and how not only privacy, but just data security in general. And so, another thing from the report, 40% of businesses report that finding a balance between security and customer experience is one of their most pressing challenges this year. So from your perspective, maybe some obvious reasons, but why is it important for brands to close this AI transparency gap as well as this security gap?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard. Like, I really empathize with the brands out there, because we're quite demanding as consumers. Like, we want this very personalized, or as we say in our report, individualized experience. But we want to make sure that it's not. But the brand can't cross the creepy line. Right. Because if they do, then we're we're going to probably break up with them forever. Right. So this, it's like kind of interesting to me. In my view, personalization goes way beyond just how you talk to a customer, but it's actually knowing what matters to them, including things around security, which might simply be the form of like channel preferences or times that you should talk to me or ways that you should talk to me. Because as a consumer, that helps me feel like you care and you are taking care of my preferences, or when I opt out, that you really do honor the opt out. All of those things I think are hand in hand, and that like it's too short-sighted if we think of personalization just about like your preferences. Like I'm going to send you like shoes, so I'm going to market you shoes, and you like certain colors. It's also very much about data security, data preferences, channel preferences too.
Yeah, I mean, it's about what we value, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I value my email inbox because it's already crowded enough, and so sometimes I actually prefer to get an SMS, because for whatever reason, or I value transparency or security, or I value getting the right thing at the right time, not just because I bought shoes. I buy shoes every day. That's certainly not me. But yeah, definitely. I think, it's to simply know a customer's name or to know something that they bought. That's more, I look at like, some of the basic personalization. It's really just substitution of like, instead of saying hello first name, it's saying hello Greg. It's that
Yes.
simple. But to really what you're saying, to really understand them and kind of empathize with them is really taking it that step further.
Yeah, we saw this a lot on the segment side in the last couple of years as our customers would, really pressed us to centralize and store and deal with consent. And so like going beyond just assembling a unified customer profile with all those preferences, they were like, in order to keep this customer, we need you to help us enforce consent. When the customer does opt out, or they do say, only in this time frame, make sure that we don't accidentally send data to a downstream system that might then like break that trust with the customer. And so it's not even theoretical. I think we're really seeing at least great brands lean in all the systems elements too of making sure that you treat that customer with, you honor their preferences and their rights, as well as personalization across the entire ecosystem inside of a business.
Wouldn't it be great if you could ask your data anything at any time? Like, how are sales this quarter? How's the new marketing campaign performing? What does the overall health of the company look like? And actually get answers right away with charts and graphics and actionable information. You can with Domo's AI and data products platform. Domo lets you channel AI and data quickly, securely, and innovatively to deliver measurable insights wherever and whenever you need them. Anyone on your team can use Domo to easily prepare, analyze, visualize, automate, and distribute data, all amplified by AI. Domo goes beyond productivity. It's designed to transform your processes, helping you make smarter and faster decisions and drive real growth. All powered by Domo's trust, flexibility, and years of expertise in data and AI innovation. The world's best companies rely on Domo to make smarter decisions. See how Domo can help transform yours. Learn more at ai.domo.com. That's ai.domo.com.
Let's get back to, we talked a bit about some of the data challenges and opportunities. So let's get back to talking about that as well, because I think there's plenty to talk about here. So, and as you mentioned, and I'm sure a lot know, it's the classic garbage in, garbage out, right? So, we need great data to, and AI sort of makes that even more so. The report I mentioned earlier from Twilio found that only 16% of brands believe that they have the data required to understand their customers' needs, and only 19% say they have a comprehensive profile of their customers. So, what's going on here? What's holding back companies and brands from having the customer data that they need, and to be able to really fully capitalize on all this AI stuff that we're talking about?
Yeah, I think there is a bit of a nuance in the have the data you need and do you have it in a place where you can use it.
Mm.
And I think it's very common for the brands to have one set of the customer data in their marketing systems, another set in their commerce, another set in their contact center. And so the idea of, unified profiles, yes, it is getting more signal and more data elements, but it's also just connecting your own systems. And we're really trying to help with this because we hear this all the time from our customers. And we just recently took parts of our Segment product and made it easier with a new capability called Unified Profiles. It sounds like, let's give you the one profile. And we brought that together with some of our contact center capabilities, Agent Copilot, which has AI capabilities for summarization. But we brought these together for our customers. And literally with clicks, they can connect data they have in the contact center with real-time signals they might need from the website or a mobile app, and then use AI to help the agent understand how to engage with the customer.
Yeah.
Sounds obvious. Sounds like everybody should have this, but again, I think so many of our real world customers are well, we are still in very siloed systems across these different functions in the business.
Yeah, and I can definitely say from my experience with they don't have, a lot of brands simply just do not have that. And to me, one of the obvious use cases there for something like that is, I just call and complain about something. I have an issue, and then I get a marketing message within an hour trying to sell me more stuff when I haven't even gotten my problem solved, or I just give me 24 hours to cool down at the very least from just having a challenge. And to talk about not empathizing and understanding what customers really value. It's they want to be understood. At some point on a long enough continuum, a brand there's going to be a less than perfect customer experience, but I think customers are forgiving when they feel understood, and things are connected in a way to do that. So I mean, definitely, I think that's, like you said, it sounds obvious, but it's not prevalent at all. I think it's so lacking in the enterprise at this point. So I think that's a great add.
Yeah, and as consumers, there are handfuls of brands, the very big brands, that do a good job at this. You do have that connected experience. So I think that consumers are just going to get more and more demanding because they're saying why can't I have the same experience, that I have with an Amazon or with Delta Airlines or with some of these big, very sophisticated organizations. And so brands have to start caring about connecting these pieces. And then we as vendors I think we care about it more too, and help them with tooling and system integration support to make these things come to life.
Yeah. Well, and so, connecting the data is one thing, even having a plan of what to do with it. So, again, to give those customer service agents data that's helpful. But, how does a brand think about managing that data to make sure that it is, not only up to date, but that, as new opportunities arise, there's a plan in place to continually improve that and optimize that so that the enterprise really can take most advantage of it.
Yeah. And so this is where I say things data management, data governance, data strategies have never been more important for companies. And yet those always sound kind of phrases.
Right.
They were no, I don't, who wants to go work with the data governance department?
Right.
No one. But like that is, so I'm not suggesting it's like a big heavy thing and like companies need whole departments just in charge of this. It's more like it is part and parcel with AI strategy, with personalization strategy. Like if you're not just inching the ball forward on where is your data? Is it connected? Is it consented? Am I being transparent? Like you're going to not really be able to progress on the other things. They are linked. They do all go together. And I think that's, my personal plea to brands, but, as a vendor too, like this is the thing we're trying to really help with and lean in on with you is that they do go together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, to your point, it's like, I know that I'm loyal to, you might have mentioned one or two of the brands that I'm loyal to already, but it's like, I'm loyal to them for the reasons that you mentioned is like, I know, again, stuff happens from time to time in in any relationship, there's going to be a bump. Certainly with a relationship with a brand, there's going to be a bump or two along the road, but it's like, it's what do they do about it and how quickly can they respond even to a misstep? And I think that's really what it comes down to is, customers, I think consumers get a bad rap in some of these things by brands thinking that they're going to quit at the first moment's notice. But I think on the positive side, even if there's a quick fix or a quick solve, or at least, realization that a misstep was made, I know I'm certainly forgiving of those kinds of things. And, I want to be loyal to a brand that understands me and stuff. And so, able to do that. They just one hand needs to know what the other hand is doing. And I think that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, Kathryn, thanks so much for joining today. One last question before we wrap up here. Looking out to the future, what are you excited about as far as, trends or advancements? What are you anticipating in this realm of AI, CX, customer data in the next few years?
Yeah, I think I'm so excited about it. We even really talked today about how much AI can help the workforce, which I think is another big aspect. We talked about like the results of AI, doing better predictions and those kinds of things, but there is so much happening in our world to make technology easier to implement, more accessible, and just to like hit a couple of examples and make my statement a little more concrete. It's like, some of these challenges of connecting all these systems, they're technical. They require coding or tooling, and we can make those things accessible to businesses that don't have developers on staff by using AI. AI is great at writing code. Likewise, like we have tools that maybe are like for sophisticated marketers to build the right audience to target. That AI can do a great job, generative AI in particular, in just letting people write down what's the business outcome they want. And then we figure it out for them. So I'm really excited about that kind of capability coming to brands because I think it will be this great democratization. Now it won't be just the big brands that I mentioned that deliver those experiences. It really will be possible for brands with small teams because of AI. They can stitch the data together and create customer experiences that are really unique and personalized.
Yeah. I love that. Well, again, I'd like to thank Kathryn Murphy, SVP Product Communications at Twilio, for joining the show. You can learn more about Kathryn and Twilio and get a link to the Twilio State of Customer Engagement report by following the links in the show notes. Thanks again for listening to The Agile Brand, brought to you by Tech Systems. If you enjoyed the show, please take a minute to subscribe and leave us a rating so that others can find the show more easily. You can access more episodes of the show at www.gregkillstrom.com. That's GregKihlstrom.com. While you're there, check out my series of best-selling Agile Brand guides covering a wide variety of marketing technology topics, or you can search for Greg Kihlstrom on Amazon. The Agile Brand is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, they craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Until next time, stay agile.
The Agile brand.